All right, hello everyone. Hello everyone. hello, hello everybody. How is everyone today? I'm. Hi, Calypsolar. Hi. How are you? Hey, Pat. Thank you so much. What the hell? What the hell? I'm already having a better day. Oh my god. Well, here we are once again. Oh gosh, should I use my reverb this time? I used it for the Love and Deep Space one, and it was a little bit too bright, I think is the right word, but I think it might be okay. For like in-head thoughts. Thoughts unspoken. Unspoken. I have out there from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's stuck in my head. Oh there. Ah! That was rude. Okay, take it back. I'm not having a better day. I'm having a worse day. Today sucks. My bald and non-existent back of my head. That's crazy. Okay. What are you doing? Redeeming shit. Oh my god. Let me take a sip of tea before we get started. But yeah, today we're reading The Scum Villain Self-Saving System, Volume 1. We are on Chapter 3, which is quite long, so we're definitely not getting through it all today. It's called Favor Points. And, yeah, I don't even know if there's a good place to stop in between this, but we're gonna find one. I guess there's no breaks in. Oh no, there's no scene breaks anywhere. I'm just gonna have to stop in a random place. Oh, this is why. Okay, I know what we're doing today. Tried to shine it, but it was too quick. That's crazy. Maybe it's not possible to do at the same time. Oh. How long are the chapters? This one's really long. This one goes from chapter page 135 to 190. 190. Is that like 50 pages or something? I don't know. We'll see. Did that work? I wasn't paying attention. You should. Okay, congratulations. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Anyway, sorry. First of all, sorry about the constant schedule changes. Oh my god. Stream schedules changes. Shit's happening a lot. IRL, I'm currently apartment hunting and it is not fun. I mean, it's a little fun because I get to see apartments, but it's still not fun. Still not fun, and my sleep schedule is fucked. It's fucked. I have a showing at like fucking noon today. It's 6 a.m. I woke up at 9 p.m. So, fun fact. Okay. Shit, which one do I use? Fun fact. I didn't learn a lot of things this week. I learned this on TikTok, but did you know that there was a tiger shark that got captured, I guess, and then put in an aquarium, and the first thing it did when it was the first showing that happened, thanks for the sub. What the fuck is going on? Oh my god. The first thing it did was throw up human remains. A human arm. And then that's they then pinned that to a murder, but then the person got away with the charge because apparently an arm isn't a whole body, and that's not murder. That's just bad. But yeah, tiger sharks will eat anything. Anything. That's a fun fact. That's something Lil Binka would do. Lil Binka tiger shark? Oh my god, wait. Oh, no. We can't have those thoughts here. That's too silly. Just kidding, we can have those thoughts. Okay. Let's do this. We're on chapter 3 favorite points. Page 135. Should we get started? Shall we get started? I haven't read for a minute. Foxy, stop! Foxy, it's too much! I'm overwhelmed! Oh my goodness. Oh, thanks. Oh, thanks for the bits. I do not know how to act in this scenario. I'm a proper streamer. Yeah, everyone support me for real, Yeah! Yeah! I don't like being in this position, but I put myself in this position, so what is a bitch supposed to do? Anyway, let's start. Ugh. I'm trying to get comfortable. I'm trying to be the most comfortable I can be before I start. Okay, my neck kind of hurts already, but that's fine. Favorite points. What happened in the last chapter? Hang on. Because tears falling on first, he had to be mistaken. That was the last thought before he fell unconscious. He fell unconscious? It was after the Skinner demon, right? Oh, no. It was after the... He got poisoned. Oh, no. But he got poisoned without a cure. Alright, let's do it. After sleeping for an unknown length of time, Shen Qingqiu finally awoke, more dead than alive. That's literally me every time I take a nap, a quote-unquote nap. Sorry, I'm just really pissed off about my naps, because they're not naps. Anyway. Those who get it, get it. Opening his eyes to the sight of the familiar white gauzy curtains above his head, he knew that he was on Qingjing Peak, in his quiet and peaceful residence. He took a deep breath, wanting to stretch, when he suddenly realized that the door had opened and someone entered. Mingfan held a tray in both hands, seeing Shen Qingqiu awake, he dropped the tray on the table and started to bawl. "Shizun, you're finally awake!" Another person was standing outside. Luo Binke lingered by the entrance like he wanted to come in, yet he hesitated. Mingfan sobbed for a while, soaking a large patch of the bed sheets before turning over his shoulder. "What are you still standing here? Why are you still standing here? Don't you know that seeing you annoys Shizun?" He rebuked Luo Binke. Then he said to Shen Qingqiu, "I don't know what's wrong with that kid. He insisted on planting himself there like some kind of stick. He won't leave, no matter how much he's shooed away." Shen Qingqiu waved his hand. "No matter. Let him. I will go and get Lu Shishu. There's a lot of words here that are... I will go and get Lu Shishu, Jiangmen, Shibo, and Mu Shishu," Mingfan said. "They said to alert them as soon as you woke up." After saying this, he scrambled to his feet and rushed outside. It seemed to Shen Qingqiu that he'd slept for a very long time. Yue Qingyuan had already returned. As for Mu Shishu, that had to be Chan Sao Peak's Mu Qingfan. Chan Sao Peak specialized in medication and was proficient in the healing arts, so his presence made absolute sense. Luo Binke let Mingfan pass, but even after Mingfan had gone a distance, he wouldn't leave his spot. He only stared fixedly into the room, his fist clenched tightly the entire time. Shen Qingqiu slowly sat up. "Do you have something to say? Then come in." Luo Binke complied and entered the room. With a sudden thump, he fell to his knees before the bed. Sorry, Ellen Doe. My sound alerts don't work, so I have to say them out loud, every time. Sorry. It's just the way things are. What the fuck? Where was I? God damn it. Every single time. Okay. He fell doing these. Shen Qingzhou was stared at him in alarm. Wait, I can use my reverb now. Yippee! Wait a moment, system. What's going on? All I did was sleep for a bit. How did things end up like this? How long have I been asleep for? Is it like 10 years in the future or something? From his kneel, Luo Binghe raised his head, gaze fervent and full of guilt. Shizun, please forgive this disciple's foolishness and ignorance up until now. Foolishness and ignorance? You could describe a lot of people with those words, but certainly not Luo Binghe, right? Originally, this disciple was under the impression that Shizun didn't care about him at all. Only after the third match did I understand what painstaking efforts Shizun had put in. No. Your original master really didn't care about you, Shen Qingzhou thought desperately. He earnestly wished you dead, really. Although exactly what painstaking efforts of mine have you noted? Say it out loud. I'm very curious to know. What is he like? Oh, British accent perfect. What is he like? What is he like? What is he like? What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Actually, what is wrong with this guy? Alright, I'll speak in a British accent when I'm speaking by myself, like my own words, but for the reading, I'll just do, you know, my normal accent, just to leave the flow a bit, yeah, not mess up the flow. If you catch my drift, do British people say that? Is that a phrase that British people say? I don't think it is. Is there any equivalent? Yeah? Alright. Never mind then. Carry on. Cheerio! I'm so sorry. Oh my god. Alright. But Luo Binghe did not continue speaking on this topic. He only said earnestly, "From this day forth, this disciple will devote himself to carrying out his duty and serving Shizun with all his heart, obeying only Shizun's esteemed commands." Shen Qingzhou studied him with a complicated expression. All that past mistreatment and abuse, completely forgotten because he'd saved Luo Binghe once. Weren't these favor points a little too easy to farm? To no surprise, at that time, he was unable to understand the course of Luo Binghe's thoughts, with their hundreds and thousands of twists and turns. Shen Qingzhou was silent for a moment. As long as you understand... Whoa, why did I make it British? I'm so sorry. This is confusing! As long as you understand. First, why don't you get up? He still didn't understand this in the slightest. Binghe, what exactly did you realize? He watched Luo Binghe slowly stand, yet the boy remained unwilling to leave. Instead, he seemed bashful, as if there was still something he wanted to say. Is there something else? Shen Qingzhou asked. Shizun has slept for many days and only just woke up, said Luo Binghe. I was wondering, do you perhaps have an appetite? In truth, strictly speaking, Shen Qingzhou had long held himself in a state of inertia. Even if he didn't eat, he would be fine. But he was unable to resist his nature, which craved good food. As soon as he heard there were things to eat, his eyes shone with desire. Side note, inertia is a I suppose martial. That sounds wrong. Technique where one can go without eating for quite a while. Martial. That's so weird. Oh my god. Quite a bit. Very much so. Luo Binghe dashed off into the kitchen. For the past few days, every couple of hours, he'd remade a serving of congee, and now it could finally be put to use. After bringing the congee to the table, still steaming hot, Luo Binghe helped Shen Qingzhou sit up on the bed, so delicious it made the hair on the back of one's nape stand up. He came just short of spoon-feeding Shen Qingzhou, and a streak of goosebumps ran down Shen Qingzhou's forearms. He ate a few mouthfuls, using the ladle himself, and all the while Luo Binghe remained standing by his bedside, silently watching him. Shen Qingzhou thought for a moment, when he was hit by a sudden realization. "It's quite good," he said, reservedly offering a few words of praise. It wasn't just quite good. Even Qingjing Peak's name, Clear and Tranquil, told you that this branch tended toward the fresh and light, and the style of their cooks followed the same principle. After eating their food for so long, Shen Qingzhou's taste buds had become as dull as dishwater. Even though the bowl in his hand was full of mere congee. Perhaps it was an issue of ingredients and technique. But compared to the watery, meager congee he'd had recently, it was on an entirely different level. Snow-white congee rice, finely chopped scallions, delicious minced pork, and shredded ginger in just the right amount, all the perfect temperature. It had been too long. Shen Qingzhou's body wanted nothing but to weep. At this praise, Luo Binghe's eyes shone. "If Shizun likes it, may I give it to him every day with variations?" Shen Qingzhou choked on the spot. Luo Binghe rushed to pat his back. Shen Qingzhou waved him off, expressing that he was fine. He was only a little shocked. Luo Binghe's excellent cooking skills were his foremost lady-killing technique. Shen Qingzhou had never thought that he would have the rare honor to eat as only a few key harem members in the original work got to. Cuisine a la Luo Binghe. What the fuck? I think I've done enough of the accent, but also kind of just want to continue. I'm not gonna lie, I was practicing it earlier. And so I'm a little warmed up, but it's still not good. By any means. It's still not good. Ooh. Even more shocking was that line. That line. This one. "I'll give it to you every day with variations." Shut the fuck up! I hate them. I hate him. I hate him. As Shen Qingzhou's expression had grown strange, Luo Binghe was slightly uneasy. "Shizun dislikes it?" he asked. "You made me free food? Whoever dislikes that would be an idiot," Shen Qingzhou said amiably. "This master likes it very much. From today onward, I'll leave this to you." Finally, he didn't need to resign himself to eating that insubstantial, watery fare. As the oh-so-mighty Qingjing Peak Lord, why didn't he have the privilege of a private kitchen? Having received approval, Luo Binghe once again blossomed like a spring flower. Shen Qingzhou watched him bloom, and without knowing why, his hand suddenly itched, wanting to pat that head again. Was it possible that Binghe's head had a special magnetic field? That would explain why he couldn't control himself. After sending a happily beaming Luo Binghe away, returning his goodwill by using him as hard labor, Shen Qingzhou called on the system. "Is the scenario at the endless abyss unavoidable?" he asked. "If Luo Binghe fails to complete, you know what? I should have a robot voice kind of for these things. That would be great because I read so many transmigration novels." Oh. "If Luo Binghe fails to complete the Endless Abyss scenario, 10,000 satisfaction points will be deducted," said the system. Upon hearing that number, Shen Qingzhou once again, out of habit, spat up a fountain of blood. Afterward, he wiped his mouth. Whatever he'd spat out so much... whatever. Okay, whatever, comma. He'd spat out so much blood that he was used to it at this point. He admits. It was eminent. Oh, that's just eminently. I know that word. I know what that word is. I just don't think I've ever seen it on a paper. On a page. Written down. This was eminently logical. If Lord Binka wasn't shoved into the endless abyss, then he wouldn't be able to activate his golden finger. If the protagonist couldn't become overpowered, then where was the satisfaction? Therefore, the endless abyss scenario was unavoidable. And as the novel's #1 loser, #1 scum villain, the execution of this glorious task naturally, absolutely, inescapably fell to Shen Qingqiu. Yet unwilling to resign himself to this fate, Shen Qingqiu asked again and ended up sighing, still unable to give up completely. Lo Benka, who was currently like a little son, was destined to fall and become that brooding, cold-blooded demon youth. Even a transmigrator like Shen Qingqiu, who by all rights ought to have access to cheat powers, was unable to change this inevitability. He had been designated to He had been designated to be the man who threw the protagonist into the endless abyss, thereby catalyzing his overpowered, legendary journey. This job's opportunities for growth were really terrible. If Shen Qingqiu failed to do this, he would lose 10,000 satisfaction points. He couldn't become more thoroughly dead than that. But if he did do this, once Lo Binka activated his golden finger, he definitely wouldn't let him off. He won't let him off, but he might get him off. Sorry. The work was difficult, the pay was meager, the benefits were non-existent. What the hell was up with this? Lo Binka hadn't left for long when several of Shen Qingqiu's sex siblings came to visit. Shen Qingqiu lay on the bed, reading a novel hidden inside a copy of Dao De Jing, which has a footnote, more commonly known as the Dao De, I think that's how you pronounce it, Jing, a famous classical text on the philosophy and religion of Taoism by Lao Tzu. Yeah. If Aries is reading it, is BL what is going on? No. That's all you need to know. It's true. Ow. That's all you need to know. It's gay here. It's gay here, and it's my favorite book ever in the world. Ever. Okay. Okay, where was I? Okay. What the fuck? Oh, I was at the footnote, that's why. When Yue Qingyuan entered, he shut the books without missing a beat so that the novel was tucked inside. Oh, Shen Qingqiu shut the book. Okay. I was confused. With the Dao De Jing's cover proudly exposed. He tried to get off the bed, but Yue Qingyuan hurriedly stopped him. Don't move so carelessly, he cautioned. You shouldn't leave the bed yet. Just keep laying down. Yue Qingyuan turned behind him to Mu Qingfan. Mushidi, come take another look. While Shen Qingqiu was unconscious, Mu Qingfan had already diagnosed him and provided treatment. The visit was likely for further prognosis. Shen Qingqiu held out his wrist. I'm troubling Mushidi, he said politely. Mu Qingfan startled briefly, but he nodded, sitting by the bed and putting his fingers on Shen Qingqiu's pulse. With his medical expertise as the Peak Lord of Chansao Peak, no matter how complicated the case, he only needed an instant to make a diagnosis and provide a prescription. But he conscientiously remained there for a long while before finally removing his fingers, his expression solemn. How is he? Yue Qingyuan asked. As the patient in question, Shen Qingqiu showed no restraint. So, can this poison be cured or not? Lu Qingge shook out his sleeves, sitting down next to the table with a humph. It's called without a cure. What do you think? Lu Qingge spoke. Lu Qingge, my baby. Whew. Sorry, I'm Luching a number one fan around here. Oh no, I can't contain myself about him. Shen Qingzhou sighed. Then Mushidi might as well tell me. How many years do I have left? How many months? Or how many days? Mu Qingfan shook his head. Even though it's without a cure, its effects can be suppressed. His voice was even, neither quiet nor loud, but Shen Qingzhou felt like he'd hit the jackpot. Even though this poison was called without a cure, in truth there was a remedy. In the original work, at the Immortal Alliance Conference, with its twist after twist, a lovable, graceful, and subdued little Shimei from another sect was hit by this rare poison. However, importantly, she was the protagonist's woman. Was there ever a stallion novel where the male lead let his own woman be poisoned to death? If there was, then he would be a subpar wish fulfillment protagonist, and that would be a shitty failure of a stallion novel. Shilin! Hi! Hi! Oh my god. Is that how I pronounce your name, by the way? Shilin? Shilin? Let me know. I am quite bad at names. The cure was incredibly simple. Let us review the developments in the original work. This book is so fucking stupid! The cure to poisonous cuddles? Yeah! Sure! Due to the irresistible power of plot, in order to save the male lead, whom she had known for less than 2 hours, that graceful little Shimei let herself be hit by a demon's underhanded trick, and the poison contaminated her body. Lord Binka felt an absolute obligation to save her, and therefore he took on the burden of looking for a cure for the graceful little Shimei. It just so happened that, deep within the mountains, where the Immortal Alliance Conference was being held, there grew a mythical 1,000-year-old flower. Sorry, Shen Qingzhou had already forgotten exactly what the name was, whatever flower or whatever leaf, because the number of mythical flowers in Proud Immortal Demon Way numbered at least in the hundreds, and every single one was at least 1,000 years old, and when you added on all the mythological grasses and mythical, just mythical, but same, whatever, trees, who the hell could remember all those names? Airplane shooting towards the sky. Do you think mythical flowers are like Chinese cabbages on sale? Leave mythical flowers at least a little dignity that comes with being rare and precious. Lord Binka was sure this legendary flower would cure the poison within the graceful Shimei's body. He put a tremendous amount of effort into picking it for her. Just doing that took 3 days. 30 chapters. In parentheses. 30 fucking chapters! That's insane. Shilin with a short sound, I get with a short what? What? Straight shilin. Okay. Cool. 3-day gardening crazy. Oh no. Hey, I lost my place again. Oops. I got 30 chapters. For those 3 days, they journeyed to pick the flower while fighting monsters, and through exchanging flirtatious glances, they developed a deep sense of camaraderie with an A. By the time Lo Binka finally managed to pick the flower, the graceful Shimei's condition had worsened, her entire body fragile and devoid of strength. The two of them were overjoyed, and they hurried to let the graceful Shimei eat the flower raw. However, it was ineffective. The poison wasn't cured. Their hearts sank. The girl thought, since I'm about to die, I must leave behind some memories to ensure that my life won't be in vain. I don't have many days left, after all, so I won't express my feelings anymore. Then, using her weak and fragile body, she pushed Lo Binka down. Girl. Lo Binka put up a brief show of resistance before telling himself, She did it all for my sake. I don't have the heart to reject her final wish. Bruh! He yielded, still half reluctant, and went along with it. If you don't know by now, this book is really... it's a bit fucked up. It's quite a bit fucked up, but what do you expect from a stallion novel turned transmigration novel? I guess. Bye, Jill. Bye, Jill. Then, in the end, how was the poison cured? After the down and dirty scene, the girl's poison was naturally cured! Was it ridiculous, cliché, implausible? But it was satisfying, right? Ridiculously satisfying. So ridiculously satisfying. Ha 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 ha. ... Look, Lobinka was of both human and demon blood, right? And the demon half of his bloodline came from their number one saintly ruler from the heavenly demons of old. The wee little demonic poison wasn't even strong enough to get stuck between Lobinka's teeth, and he instantly absorbed and digested it during their, or should I say, Incidentally, he even absorbed the nutrients of the mythical flower the girl had just eaten, and so his martial ability once again made great progress. Shit! The so-called protagonist's privilege was that even if he stepped in dog shit, there would probably be a hidden scroll or elixir within it. As Shen Qingzhou thought back on this segment of Proud Immortal Demon Way, his facial expression kept changing erratically. He failed to notice even when the others addressed him. Yue Qingyuan had to repeatedly call his name many times before he finally returned to himself. What? Mu Qingfan passed him a piece of paper. Every month, take these 4 medications, then circulate your spiritual energy with someone who has high quantities of it. This will assist you in maintaining regular spiritual circulation. If you do these things, you shouldn't have any problems. He paused for a moment. The only thing is, I'm afraid that from today onward, Shen Shishang will occasionally your spiritual qi will at times suddenly stagnate, or you may suffer other abnormalities in your circulation. The other 3 people in the room all paid close attention to his expression. One must remember that to cultivators, the stagnation of spiritual circulation was a profoundly terrifying problem, especially if it cropped up during a duel between expert practitioners, where a single slip-up could mean your life. Little did they know, Shen Qingzhou was immensely satisfied with the result. For somebody in a scum villain role to be poisoned with something like without a cure and still be able to live, it was giving him too much confidence. Like, he just knew... Sorry. Like, he knew that... I can't when he goes so informal. It's so ridiculous. Like, he knew that going at it with the protagonist could have cured the poison. But, like, he could do that... Could he? Haha, haha. Ye Qinghan sighed. Had I known any of this would come to pass, I would not have left the mountain. You sad, sad boy. Shen Qingzhou thought his tone was too solemn. The Immortal Alliance Conference has always been a massive event. Wait, who is this? Yes. Has always been a massive event that the various sect leaders must work together to organize, he hurried to say. How could you have not gone, Shishong? This happened due to the demons' underhanded deceits and my own carelessness. You must not hold yourself responsible. What's going on? What is going on, you guys? right about the cuddles fanboy logic. It's true. It's true. Poison got wrecked by the white tide of loving juice. Oh my goodness. That's something. That's a sentence. If he didn't say this clearly here, given Yue Qingyuan's personality, he might never leave the mountain ever again. He'd stay and defend Sangchong Mountain Sect to his last. That was all entirely possible. To his surprise, Wu Qingfan also guiltily declared, "No, the fault is all mine. If I hadn't failed to realize that there was a demonic invasion, and if my skill wasn't too poor to fully cure Shen Qishong, it wouldn't have come to this either." Sad, sad man. No. It has nothing to do with you two, Shen Qingzhou insisted. Come to think of it, I was a bit indelicate and smashed a giant hole into the ground before Chongding Hall with that hammer. The three of them devolved into jumbled apologies and blame-taking, the scene both chaotic and comical. It left Shen Qingzhou both touched and embarrassed, his entire body breaking out in goosebumps and his scalp going numb. Lu Qingge stared out the window, face expressionless. Lu Qingge! He waited until they had exhausted themselves, then finally took a sip of tea and said, This matter must remain secret to all but the 12 Peak Lords. If outsiders became aware that the Peak Lord of Sangchong Mountain Sect's second peak had such a deadly weakness, things would be unfun, to say the least. All three of the others naturally understood this. Do you think that the burden of Peak Lord will be too heavy, Qingzhou? Said Yue Qingyuan. The original Shen Qingzhou would most likely have suspected that Yue Qingyuan was trying to undermine his authority or something of that sort. However, the current Shen Qingzhou knew that Yue Qingyuan was genuinely worried about him overworking himself and damaging his health, and he rushed to respond. Jiangmen Xishang, really, don't worry about me anymore. I haven't been crippled to that extent. He smiled. For now, my hands, feet, and mouth still work, and I still have my cultivation. I am entirely satisfied. For now. They then discussed a variety of details of the demon invasion before Yue Qingyuan and Mu Qingfan took their leave. Shen Qingzhou watched them go, thinking it all terribly funny, yet he also felt an unutterable warmth and peace. Even though his fellow disciples' personalities were all different, with some easy to get along with, some difficult, they all breathed as one. Though split into 12 peaks, whenever something went wrong, they were a dependable family. Excepting the original Shen Qingzhou. Lu Qingge put down his tea, which had long gone ice cold. If it weren't for your body's lack of ghostly qi, I would definitely suspect you'd been possessed. And the one who remained just happened to be that one of the difficult ones. Why is he the one remaining? I don't know. Who could know? I'm fine and normal about him is all I need to say. That's all. Only for now. I'm fine. Oh, okay. On a certain level, your guess is very correct. Lu Qingge continued. You saved me in the Lingqi caves. That, in itself, was inconceivable. During the demon attack, you also rescued some nameless disciple and almost lost your life. You were poisoned to the point of damaging your spiritual energy levels, and you should be furious, yet you've peacefully accepted it. Someone else doing so wouldn't be strange, but you doing so upturns everything. Doesn't it, though? Doesn't it just? Did you bald me? What the fuck? Stop balding me! I put out a cigarette. Oh my god. Shen Qingzhou absolutely didn't want to discuss the issues of his own OOC personality with Lu Qingge. He called Mingfan to refresh the tea, then leaned back and smiled. Nameless, that's only for now. That disciple of yours, his base is indeed excellent, Lu Qingge said. However, a fair number with his, A fair number with his level of aptitude are invited into the large sects every year, and in the end, the number who can become truly outstanding is less than 1 in 10,000. Shen Qingshou suddenly sensed danger. Danger! What if Lu Qingge became a stumbling block on Luo Binghe's journey to becoming overpowered and, during a confrontation between the two of them, was KO'd in a snap? For everyone's sake, he needed to warn Lu Qingge. Believe me, he said patiently, earnestly. This disciple of mine will definitely be a success. I hope when Lu Shidi has the chance, you can give me a little support and guidance as often as possible. He's being so sus to him. Mingfan was half dead from depression. He had only come to refresh the tea, yet he had been forced to hear Shen Qingshou, his ally in torturing a shared enemy, heap praise after praise upon Luo Binghe. The level of frustration he felt was akin to that of the confidant who, for years, always cursed a little bastard when you suddenly went to suddenly went and coupled up with the same little bastard you tormented together. Repulsed, he immediately decided to go be repulsive to others. I fucking love him. He's so simple-minded. He has like 2 brain cells, Mingfan. Oh my god. What happened? Okay. A stormy Mingfan found Luo Binghe in the kitchen, pondering over what food to make Shen Qingzhou the next morning. Mingfan showered him with verbal abuse before ensuing a series of commands. Go chop some wood. Chop 80 bundles. Fill the entire woodshed. Fetch water. The water jars in our rooms are empty. Are you blind? Can't you see? But, Shishong, if the woodshed is full, where will I sleep? Luo Binghe asked, perplexed. Mingfan stomped his foot, spittle flying everywhere. Isn't it flat in here? Isn't that floor enough? I just filled the water jars in your rooms today. That water isn't fresh anymore. Redo it. Refill them all. In the past, some grievances and bitterness might have sprouted in Luo Binghe's heart, but today his attitude was completely different. In his eyes, these were all training opportunities. He already had such a good teacher, one who thought of everything for him, who was even willing to sacrifice his life for him. In parentheses, right? ... question mark. What training could he not overcome? What suffering could he not withstand? Luo Binghe didn't say another word. He turned on his heel to get ready to work. Mingfan could derive not even a little satisfaction from his reaction, and instead he felt even more frustrated. He stormed away while cursing. I really can't understand what about that brat caught Shizun's eye. For Shizun to suddenly see him in a new light, a success, outstanding. Even if that brat bewitched Shizun with some poison, Lu Shishu still won't guide or support him. Unthinkable. Bah! Though Mingfan cursed incessantly as he went, his voice wasn't loud. But how could Luo Binghe, with his blindingly fast progress and naturally sharp 5 senses, not hear? Mingfan's mutterings were largely harsh words and phrases, but in the midst, he'd touched on the key words, and in an instant, Luo Binghe took those bits and pieces to guess most of the whole picture. So Shizun had actually spoken about him like that in front of Lu Shishu. The feeling of having someone speak about you so highly, somewhere you couldn't see, that feeling was truly indescribably wonderful. Warmth suddenly surged in Luo Binghe's heart. The more it surged, the stronger it became, gradually flowing through his entire body. Luo Binghe felt like a steady strength had taken root somewhere in the depths of his heart and was starting to bud. Even his hand carrying the heavy wooden bucket seemed to become stronger. At this time, not only did Luo Binghe not feel like other people were making things difficult for him, his expression became joyful and satisfied. If Shen Qingzhou were there, he would definitely have suspected that, within the depths of his heart, Luo Binghe was actually an extreme masochist. However, Shen Qingzhou was astoundingly oblivious to the fact that, thanks to the divine wingman abilities of his useless teammate Ming Fan, Luo Bingke's favor had again risen to a new high. For the time being, Shen Qingzhou was lying down in elation. That day, the always lofty Qingjing Peak's doorstep almost broke from all the feet rushing across it. The various peak lords all brought their disciples to visit, along with gifts of condolence. After all, during Xia Hualing's armed provocation, the rainbow bridges had been severed, and Changding Peak had been sealed by a barrier. They had been unable to intervene, and so the burden of the fight had fallen on Shen Qingzhou, who had been the sole representative of the older generation. Anyhow, Sangchong Mountain hadn't lost too much face. But no matter whether their past relationship had been good or bad, the Peak Lords absolutely had to come and express proper sentiments. Shen Qingzhou came... Nope. Well, he will. What? Shen Qingzhou calmly received their greetings and used the chance to learn the faces of several Peak Lords he hadn't yet met, while also taking the opportunity to make some small talk and strengthen his relationships. That night, he was on cloud 9 as he thought, "Finally, I can have a peaceful night's sleep." However, 4 hours later, peaceful night's sleep, my ass! Shen Qingzhou stood in the middle of a stretch of chaotic nothingness and stared out at the endless horizon. What's happening? There's not even a scene break here. I just think it's a little bit of a nice point to... I just want to look at the chat every now and then, you know what I mean? We're just having a getting to know you convo in your chat. You can't serenading us with piano. Fair enough. Fair enough. Do what you will. I'm so out of it. I'm just hearing you, not listening. How dare you? How dare you? Yeah, we're still here, K-Boy. Listen, it'll ruin my flow if I keep looking up every 2 seconds, which I do sometimes, and it's not great. It's actually not great, especially for VOD watchers. That's not very fun for everyone. Oh my god. Alright. We're on page 151, by the way, at the top of page 151. Calic, you need to chill out sometimes. Sometimes I think you need to chill out. I mean, we will later. What? He'd definitely just been drunk, unsatisfied smiles, comfortably sinking into sleep on his bed. So, could someone explain why he'd been dragged into this space? Shen Qingzhou really wished he had a gong, one he could ring to summon the system, so that he wouldn't need to always yell at the top of his lungs within his mind, "System, are you online?" The system provides you with 24-hour service. Where is this? What's the situation? This is a world within a dream realm. Of course I know this is a dream realm, said Shen Qingzhou. Tell me, how could such abstract scenery exist in reality? I'm asking why I'm here. Come on, he thought. Please don't let it be what I'm thinking. But this world really wouldn't give him a break. Just as he thought, don't. In the next second, he saw a figure that was unbearably familiar. He'll have a gong eventually? Wait, what is that? I am confused because I don't even know what that would be an innuendo for. What does that mean? Oh my god. What are you guys doing? How much is that gonna... Oh my god. You guys are insane. Okay, anyway. God damn it! Okay. Luo Bingke stood before him, bewildered in the middle of a never-ending wasteland. He also seemed entirely lost as to why he'd appeared here. After a moment of bewilderment, Shen Qingzhou's form came into view. Luo Bingke startled, then dashed over happily, like a chick who'd seen its mother hen. So so cute! He's so cute. He's so cute, and I'll die. What kind of shitty analog was that? I hate how many times it breaks the fourth wall. Shizun! Though Binka had already been trapped in this world for a long time, he was instantly excited by the sight of Shen Qingqiu and called him repeatedly again and again. That's a sentence. As soon as Shen Qingqiu laid eyes on him, he recognized this place and what scenario he'd been thrust into. Instantly, all of Shen Qingqiu's hopes turned to dust, and even as a shower of tears rained down his heart, he patted Luo Binka's shoulder. I heard you. No need to call me so many times. Yes, Shizun, Luo Binka said hurriedly. Why are you here too? Do you know where we are? Being lazy, Shen Qingqiu directly echoed the system's lines. This is a world within a dream realm. Then why am I here? Luo Binka asked again. Anyone else being here is the strange thing, while your presence is quite natural, said Shen Qingqiu. This is your dream realm. Mine? Luo Binka startled and backed up a step, looking at the endless, desolate land and sky. My dream realm actually looks like this? The dream realm, one's view of the world, reflected one's heart. Luo Binka was so young, yet his mindscape wasn't filled with the red of flowers and the green of willows, but this bleak scenery. One couldn't help feeling sorrow. Shen Qingqiu pretended to ponder for a while. This is not the ordinary dream realm. I'm afraid that while you were unaware, someone tampered with it. The waves of spiritual energy within this dream are strong and unstable, though this master was inadvertently pulled in by you. This disciple is useless and involves Shizun once again. Luo Binka's face was ashamed, but he considered this carefully. Exactly who would tamper with my dream realm? Shen Qingqiu was ready with an answer, fully enjoying the experience of divulging spoilers. No need to think too hard. The borders of this dream realm churn with demonic qi, and any entity who would use such crude techniques undoubtedly must be a demon. Luo Binka was unsurprised, and these words only deepened his hatred toward that race. The ways of demons are truly poisonous. Shen Qingqiu wondered what sort of expression Luo Binka would make in the future. Thinking back on these words, once he learned of his own demonic heritage, not necessarily poisonous, said Shen Qingqiu with a smile. Perhaps their intentions are the exact opposite. Someone not in the know couldn't hope to comprehend words spoken from his omniscient perspective. Guys, I have like 4 minutes. I don't even know when a good place is to stop. But I think I might... Oh, hydrate? Okay, thank you. I think I have to take a break right here. There's really not a good place to take a break, so I'll just take a break right here. On this pivotal moment. I gotta feed the dog, and I'll let you get an ad in. An ad or two. I only have one ad. It's fine. Binka is the gong and Shen Qingqiu is the show. Okay. Oh my god. What the hell? Aggressive top trope? That's crazy. I didn't know that. What the hell? The best old man would tamper with it. That's who would that be even? Who would that even be? Stop before going to the city. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be right back. I'll literally be right back. I'll see you in a second. I'm back. Gotta go now. Tell me if I missed male pregnancy arc. You missed it! You missed it! It already happened! Oh, I wish. Oh god, I wish. There's fanfics for that. Unfortunately, this is not an MPreg novel. That sucks! It will be so good! Am I, like, slow? No, I think that's normal. Okay. Anyway. Page 153, about in the middle. About in the middle. Let's get back to it. Brr. Yes. Not necessarily poisonous, said Shen Qingzhou with a smile. Perhaps their intentions are the exact opposite. Someone not in the know couldn't hope to comprehend these words spoken from his omniscient perspective. Luo Bingke didn't understand. What did his master mean? But Shen Qingzhou's smile seemed profound, and the tail of his sentence was inflected lightly upward in a somewhat teasing tone. Damn, I didn't read that beforehand. It was that sort of hint that made people's imaginations run wild. Luo Bingke stopped there, not daring to think about it further. In truth, Shen Qingzhou didn't intend to tease. He thought himself very straightforward. The one who tampered with Luo Bingke's dream realm was Xia Hualing. Though she did have some harmful intentions, her underlying motive was obvious. Naturally, she was driven by a young girl's secret yearning for love. Please. Her? This gay bitch? Otherwise, she would have directed her aggressions toward others, not specifically Luo Bingke. Demons were compelled to viciously bully the person they liked. Only if the object of their affections failed to die would the demon accept them. If their target died, that meant they were useless and not worth nursing any lingering affections for. This dream realm is rather complicated, said Shen Qingzhou. An ordinary nightmare technique couldn't trap me. I can dispel those within a mere thought. But this dream realm was truly meticulously constructed. I'm afraid that until the core of the illusion is destroyed, no one will be able to leave. Even Shizun will be trapped in this dream realm forever? Luo Bingke asked, anxious. Shen Qingzhou glanced at him. You will be too. Luo Bingke's mind jolted, his face going from red to white. It's all this disciple's fault. The situation is what it is, so there's no use decrying it. Decrying? Okay. I don't know what... I mean, I get it from the context, but I've never heard that word before. Said Shen Qingzhou. We should devise a solution as soon as possible, dispel the barrier, and take our leave. Luo Bingke silently nodded and followed behind Shen Qingzhou as they headed toward the dream realm's border. Shen Qingzhou's face was smooth and unchanging, but his mind was a stormy sea. He was having an intense back and forth with the system. System alert. You are now entering an important subplot scenario. The dream demon Meng Mo's barrier. During this subplot, please make sure to assist Luo Bingke in defeating Meng Mo's illusion. Otherwise, the 1,000 satisfaction points will be deducted. There it was again, always deducting satisfaction points, and every time it was a heart attack-inducing number. After assiduously working for so long, Shen Qingzhou had only managed to scrounge a couple of satisfaction points here and there while the system could remove 1,000 points in a single deduction. Was this really fair? That wasn't the main point, though. The main point was that this was the wrong script. Let us summarize the scenario's original script. Luo Bingke was pushed into Meng Mo's sphere of influence, but before danger struck, he instinctually sought protection and pulled the person he trusted most into the barrier with him. Shen Qingzhou urgently called for the system. Good master, esteemed master, there's a bug, right? In this section, Lobinka should be cozying up with the maiden, and the maiden is responsible for unraveling his complexes, and using love to help him defeat his inner demons. How come I've been thrust into this role? Where is the promised deep and emotional heart-to-heart, where she's accepted into his harem? Where's the promised little Shimei who refused to leave him either in life or in death? Refuses. I thought there was a typo. There was no typo. I can't read, that's all. Our self-inspection failed to find a bug. The system is running normally. No bug. That meant in this scenario, Shen Qingqiu either had to carry out that role or die. He's so dramatic. This was the butterfly effect. Originally, the one who was pulled into Luo Binka's nightmare was Ning Yingying, as Luo Binka's closest, most trusted confidant on Qingjing Peak. In the early story, this gate-crushing, intimacy-building task was clearly her job. What was happening now? How had the hat of closest, most trusted confidant nonsensically landed on Shen Qingqiu's head? Sorry, I yelled that last one on accident. Shizun, what's wrong? Lobinka asked in concern, seeing his unreadable expression. Shen Qingqiu promptly pulled himself together. Nothing's wrong, he said calmly. This master was thinking that demons who manipulate dream realms often target the weakness of the human heart. You must be vigilant and on your guard. Lobinka nodded, his expression firm. This disciple definitely won't allow Shifu to be dragged in again. This was miserable. Not only had Shen Qingqiu been thrust into a dangerous situation, on top of that, he had to assume the task of playing out the maiden's role. Shen Qingqiu absolutely didn't want to charge through a mountain of knives or a sea of fire with the male lead to confront the terrifying Master Meng Mo, while also blocking knives for him and even providing free psychological therapy. Oh, the foreshadowing. That said, complaining was useless. In the past, when he'd been faced with this kind of satisfaction, his habit had been to cuss out Airplane shooting towards the sky. But honestly, Great Master Airplane was also innocent. He was a proper, upright stallion novel author, and he definitely wouldn't have wanted something like this to happen in his work. A healthy maiden being replaced by a scum villain? How disheartening. Ordinary readers would throw the book to the floor. Ordinary readers. Definitely not me. I'm just quirky like that. Oh boy. Yeah, we are not getting through this whole chapter today. No way. No way, Jose. I always wonder if one day Shen Qingqiu asked Luo Binka to bring Ning Ying to the dream realm with them sometimes just because he doesn't want his disciple missing out. Huh? Huh? Is this after everything? Or like... wait, hang on. Hi, Bobby! Hello! Oh my god, really? That's crazy! You... That's crazy! I'm sorry. Congratulations! Happy early birthday! What the fuck? Alright. Where were we? Where were we? Hey, where the... oh, psychological therapy. Okay. Nope, after that. Okay. After just hypothetical. No, that's a possibility. That is something. The two of them kept walking, the clouds above and scenery around them like a kaleidoscope, sometimes lengthening and twisting, and at other times shattering into thousands of fragments, always erratic, The picture formed by the world they walked through was exceedingly eerie, like the people had been illustrated by Da Vinci, while the backgrounds had been illustrated by Picasso. The style clash was extraordinarily intense. Suddenly, from within the dense layers of cloud emerged the buildings of a city. They stopped in their steps. Luo Bingke looked at Shen Qingqiu, waiting for his signal. Counter soldiers with arms and floods with earthen dams, Shen Qingqiu muttered to himself. We deal with whatever situations arise, as appropriate. Forward. As they walked to the city gates, Luo Bingke raised his head, his expression becoming slightly puzzled. Shen Qingqiu knew very well what he was thinking, that the city looked familiar. Of course it was familiar. It was the city Luo Bingke had wandered while homeless during his childhood. The city gates naturally had no guards defending them and slowly opened by themselves. Shen Qingqiu led him inside. This dream realm was frightening in its realism. When abstract, it was so abstract that it became blobs of colors. When photorealistic, it was so photorealistic that as to be indistinguishable from reality. The city's streets, markets, residents, vendor stalls, every single one was intricate enough to make your hair stand on end. Lit brightly with lamps, with people coming and going. From a distance it looked bustling and lively, but once Shen Qingqiu drew close, even though he had long prepared himself, his heart still almost escaped his ribcage. These people moving about were, to a one, faceless. Every visage was a blurry mass, featureless. Every visage was a blurry mass, features unclear, and none of them made a sound. They didn't seem like living people at all, yet they still milled around, wandering back and forth. The entire city was deathly silent, its busyness entirely uncanny. Can we just take a moment to appreciate MXDX right now at this moment, because that was beautiful. This whole setting the stage, oh my god, it's so good. Like, you can see it so well just from those couple of, just from that like one page. It's so beautiful. This upsets my 20th. It was so long ago. Real Foxy. It's too real. Okay, not that. Right. And on page 157. Luo Bingke had never seen a scene like this. Shizun, he said, aghast. What are these things? Shen Qingqiu was panicking a little from terror, but he still took on the duty of being an expository... That's expository, right? Encyclopedia. This is an illusory city created via a nightmare. In the dream realm, one can create inanimate objects such as buildings and trees, but not living people. At most, they can be fashioned to this extent, speechless monsters that lack noses and faces. Even so, to be able to construct something on the scope of a city and to make it nearly like unto reality, I'm afraid it can only be one person. Luo Bingke was incredibly cooperative, and he humbly sought instruction. One person? Meng Mo. Meng Mo, the dream demon, was the boss of this instant of a dream realm. Meng Mo's true identity was that of a famously brilliant and accomplished elder among demons. Several hundred years ago, a bout of divine punishment had destroyed his physical body, but his powerful spirit had endured undamaged. From then on, he had become a parasite within others' dream realms, subsiding by absorbing their spiritual energy and vitality. At the same time, he was also one of the protagonist's teachers on his road to becoming a demon. Thus, we can give him a more direct and intimate nickname, the Portable Grandfather. Meng Mo was the one who, After Lobinka broke through the barrier, formulatically took a liking to the protagonist, formulatically taught him everything about his lost arts, and formulatically, am I saying that right? Formulaically, wait, no, I'm saying that wrong. Formulaically, I don't know how to say this word. And from that point forth, occasionally helped the male lead think up plans for taking care of small fry. Pocket grandpa. Lobinka still wanted to ask a few more questions, but then his eyes involuntarily swept through the crowd and froze for a split second. Despite knowing the answer, Shen Qingzhou asked, "What's wrong?" "Faces," Lobinka blurted out. "Shizun, just now I think I saw people with faces." Shen Qingzhou readily heeded his words and kept it concise. "We follow." They closely tailed a few figures who were incongruous with the people and the style of the surroundings, turning and twisting through the city until they finally stopped before an alley. In total, there were 5 people with faces. They appeared to be 5 youths, each one equipped with noses and features. The 4 taller figures surrounded one to the ground, and they cursed and yelled incessantly. Words like little mongrel and bastard poured from their mouths. They completely failed to notice the 2 people behind them. "It looks like they can't see us," said Lobinka. He looked at Shen Qingzhou as if to ask, "Didn't you say Meng Mo was incapable of creating people with complete features?" Shen Qingzhou heaved a sigh in his heart. Meng Mo indeed cannot create people using nightmares, but he didn't create these individuals. Lobinka, look more closely at their faces. Lobinka slowly turned his gaze toward them, although his expression didn't change much. In a flash, a drop of cold sweat dripped down his forehead. "These are not illusions created by Meng Mo," said Shen Qingzhou. "They are projections of real people from your memories. Meng Mo only awakened these reflections from the memory sleeping within your mind." But Lobinka could no longer hear him. He placed his hands on his temples, and it seemed as if his head was twitching. Shen Qingzhou knew that Lobinka's inner demons had already struck. Those 4 rowdy youths surrounded the child in the alley, who appeared to be only around 4 or 5 years old, as they punched and kicked him. That shabbily dressed child had covered his head with both arms and curled up on the ground, soundlessly taking the beating. It really made one worry that they would beat the young one to death. "This little mongrel sure is blind, daring to enter our territory and snatch our food. Must be tired of living. Step on him, he's so pitiful, right? Hungry with nothing to eat, right? Beat him to death, he won't have to worry about that." Lobinka's head hurt like it was splitting open. That small, frail figure on the ground was his young self from the past. Through the disheveled hair and blood-stained face, 2 bright eyes like stars, like sharp swords lancing forward, met his gaze. Lobinka was completely unable to look away. "Pull yourself together," Shen Qingzhou said lowly. "It's only an illusion." However, the terrifying thing about Meng Mo was that he specialized in summoning the human heart's deepest terror, rage, and misery in order to destroy a person's psychological defenses. To the Lobinka who had already activated his god mode cheats, the power of 10,000 Meng Mos together would amount to little more than parlor tricks. But the Lobinka now, whose demonic blood had yet to awaken, was trapped in the dream realm with his dark memories. All he could see was his own powerlessness. Suddenly, the alley scene distorted, transforming into another one. Shen Qingzhou thought. They were in a broken-down little hut. The hut only had 1 bed, a crooked little table with a dimly lit oil lamp on top, and a small wooden bench. On the bed lay a haggard old woman. With great effort, she tried to prop herself up, but from beginning to end she was unable to do so. A small figure rushed in from outside. A tender-faced Lobinka, only a little over 10 years old, supported the woman. Around his neck hung that jade pendant. Formulaically? Oh, that makes sense. Oh, that makes so much more sense. This guy is terrible, even it was such a dope. You're not wrong, though. You're not wrong. Stop it, Gallic. Oh my god. You guys are ridiculous. You guys are ridiculous. Alright. Mother, why are you getting up again? He asked anxiously. Didn't we say it's fine to rest? The woman coughed. Lying down doesn't help with anything. Might as well get up and wash the clothes. I already finished washing, said little Lobinka. Mother, lie down and wait for me to finish simmering your medicine. You can work after you take it and get better. The woman's face was ashen, her sickness long beyond cure, and she had little time left to live. She smiled while patting Lobinka's head. Binka is so sweet. Little Lobinka lifted his face, forcing himself to smile. What does Mother want to eat? These days I have less and less appetite. The woman paused, then hesitantly added, The last time our house's young master threw out his white congee, I did wish for a bit of a taste. I wonder if the kitchens have any left. Little Lobinka vigorously nodded. I'll go ask for it, Mother. Just asking is enough. The woman warned him again and again. If there's none left, then just make something light and soupy. As long as it fills the stomach, it's fine. Absolutely do not request any from the chef. Lobinka promised profusely, then ran out like the wind, his feet clapping against the ground. After laying down for a while, the woman felt beneath her pillow for a needle and thread and started doing needlework. The lamplight in the hut became dimmer and dimmer. While Lobinka's mind was unclear, he reached out, trying to grasp something. Shenqingqiu grabbed his hand. Lobinka, he said forcefully, look carefully. This isn't your mother. You are no longer that helpless child who could only endure humiliation. One of the things that made this nightmare so lethal was that the more agitated the trapped victim became, the more damage it would do to their mind. Lobinka's present extreme instability was terribly harmful to his spirit. Another dangerous thing you needed to remember was that you absolutely could not attack the people who appeared in your dream realm. Every single person was formed from the mind and consciousness of the dream realm's host. As soon as you attack them, you would also be attacking your own brain. Many people, not knowing this or unable to control their emotions, attacked the people in the dream realm who'd hurt them in the past and thereby sent themselves into a coma. If Lobinka fell into that state, Shenqingqiu would of course be trapped in his dream realm with him. The scenery around them shifted erratically. This nightmare was a collection of Lobinka's misfortunes and traumas from his short decade-plus years of life. He's just a baby. Washerwoman gets me every time. I wish the book had given her a name. I know! Damn. That one really almost got me, honestly. It almost got me. The scene suddenly transformed into little Lobinka pleading with the house chef. Oh no, it's still going. Oh, it's gonna get me. To grant his adopted mother a bowl of congee before being ridiculed by the manor's young master. Then it became the time, right after he joined Qingjing Peak, when he'd been subjected to exclusion and spite by his numerous Shishong. His frail form straining as he swung a rusty axe or carried pails of water up the long stairs as his steps slowed more and more. Then the moment when his treasured jade pendant was snatched away, never to be found. The disordered scenes piled up as they came one after another without pause. The present Lobinka could neither see nor hear anything beyond this maelstrom of images and memories. Within his head, there was only an ongoing explosion of hatred, despair, and suffering, helplessness, and fury from those times churning endlessly within his chest and mind. The only way to dispel this nightmare would be to undo the tangles in one's heart, thereby causing the nightmare to collapse on itself. But Lord Binka's fists were tightly clenched. Cracking sounds came from his fingers, his breathing grew increasingly unsteady. His eyes turned an unnatural red, and a faint, discernible current of spiritual power coursed around him, as if his desire to attack were growing near irresistible. Standing near him was supremely dangerous, thought Shen Qingqiu. Don't attack them, Shen Qingqiu said harshly. Even if you hit them, you'll be the one who's injured. Lo Binka could no longer hear his words. He lifted his right arm and a powerful spiritual blast flew forth from his palm, hurtling straight forward to destroy the people laughing freely within the illusion. Shen Qingqiu cried out within his heart. No matter how painful, his body still understood its duties. He rushed over, throwing himself before the illusions, blocking the spiritual blast head-on. It struck his lower abdomen. In that instant, Shen Qingqiu felt like he'd been stomped on by an elephant, his vision going dark. If this weren't the dream realm, he'd have vomited an endless fountain of blood, as expected of the protagonist. Shen Qingqiu's face was drenched with tears. Lo Binka was obviously only a young disciple, so how could he release such a powerful spiritual blast? It seemed that ever since he'd unlocked the OOC function, not only had he not accomplished any grand achievements, the only thing he'd done aside from blocking blows was block more blows, and also block some blows. He was doing just grand as a self-sacrificial meat shield, wasn't he? With this attack of Lo Binka's, the illusion around them was broken, and the people and objects all shattered like glass into thousands of shards. The illusory landscape transformed into a remote, forested wilderness. The sky was a dark blue, and the lone, cold moon hung high and golden above their heads. Lo Binka's mind instantly cleared. He first stared blankly, speechlessly, at the half-kneeling Shen Qingqiu, who was unable to stand. Then he lowered his head and looked. Then he lowered his head to look at his own palm, where a shred of remaining spiritual power was still flowing through his fingertips. Vaguely remembering what he'd just done, his face turned stark white. Lo Binka threw himself to Shen Qingqiu's side to support him, both worried and regretful. Shizun, why didn't you hit back? With Shen Qingqiu's level of spiritual power, he would have been wholly capable of returning Lo Binka's spiritual blast, forcing their powers to collide and directly pitting them against each other until the stronger one won. Not only could he have dissolved Lo Binka's attacks, he could have deflected it back at him. Foolish child, Shen Qingqiu said simply, expressing his innermost feelings. Then he continued weakly. The point was to ensure you wouldn't be injured. If I deflected it back and injured you, what would be the purpose of that? That frail voice made Lo Binka want to strike his own heart and kill himself. Everyone's a dramatic bitch in this book. I swear to God. Oh my God. But now the one injured is Shizun. It hadn't been long since they fought those 3 matches against the demon realm, and Shizun... Oh, wait, what? Is he still speaking? And Shizun had already again been injured for his... Oh no, he's not speaking. And Shizun had already again been injured for his sake, and this time by his own hand. Shen Qingqiu saw the self-blame and misery on that child's face about to overflow, and unable to stand it, he said, consolingly, Can your cultivation compare to mine? Even if this master took several more blows, it wouldn't matter. Lo Binka would have preferred Shen Qingqiu to be... Lo Binka would have preferred Shen Qingqiu be as he had in the past and vent his anger by viciously beating and cursing him. Even if he were utterly ignored, scorned, and ridiculed, it would have been easier on his heart. On the contrary, Shen Qingqiu's tone and words were unerringly gentle. And so Luo Binghe was struck dumb and speechless, completely at a loss for what to do. After a long moment, he said in a low voice, "This is all my fault." The early Luo Binghe indeed walked the path of a brainless Moe White Lotus. Shen Qingzhou figured he'd once again fallen into the self-flagellating, yes, that is a word, pattern of an anxious people-pleaser. "It has nothing to do with you," Shen Qingzhou explained patiently. "The ways of demons are extremely unpredictable and impossible to guard against. However, if you don't want to run into similar trouble in the future, you must become stronger." These words were spoken purely out of his personal feelings. This was the world of immortals and monsters, where the strong ate the weak. Becoming stronger was the only way to guarantee that you wouldn't become cannon fodder to be pushed around by the world. Luo Binghe's thoughts shifted, and without speaking, he suddenly raised his head, fixing his steady gaze on Shen Qingzhou. Shen Qingzhou's heart thumped. Luo Binghe's eyes, dark like obsidian, flashed with a light more dazzling than the reflection of the moon and stars. That look in his eyes, that kind of protagonist look, full of resolute conviction and blazing, fighting spirit. Luo Binghe fell into a proper kneeling position by Shen Qingzhou's side. "I understand," he said in a strong, clear voice. Shen Qingzhou didn't notice that, as Luo Binghe spoke this sentence, he didn't use "this disciple" to address himself. Luo Binghe tightly clenched his fist. "This kind of thing," he said, enunciating each word. "I definitely won't let it happen a second time." Letting Shizun protect his weak self, letting Shizun be injured because of him, this kind of thing absolutely could not happen again. Shen Qingzhou let out an "oh." He suddenly had this "the protagonist is protecting me, I feel so safe" kind of feeling. What exactly was going on? Shen Qingzhou was filled with a plethora of complex emotions. Fuck. Originally, this conviction to become stronger to protect my important person should have been inspired by the protagonist seeing the female lead's frail, lovely, and delicately panting form after she sustained an injury while helping him. Was the system laying all the emotional labor associated with the female lead's role on Shen Qingzhou? Taking on a main character's long and tedious lines while becoming paid an extra's thin and meager wages. This was labor exploitation. God. 1 second, I'm gonna freeze for a second. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. Drink. Hello? Okay. Out of selfishness, Shen Qingzhou managed to lift a hand and pat Luo Binghe on the head. Luo Binghe's originally stubborn gaze froze, as if a handful of clear spring water had doused his flickering anger. Shen Qingzhou thought for a moment. "Actually, you need not worry too much. If you cannot become strong, I will stay by your side and protect you." Stop! Stop! Time to grow fast. Wait! Oh my god. You are so gay. Says you. Instead of letting... Yep, okay. Instead of letting Luo Binghe become that pitch-black basket case of a young man who made destroying the world his personal mission, it'd be better if he could stay Okay, it'd be better if you could stay this delicate little white lotus forever. Shen Jingzhou absolutely wouldn't have minded keeping this iteration of Luo Bingke by his side and taking care of him for a lifetime. These were his simple thoughts, but to the person hearing his words, they didn't sound so simple. Luo Bingke was wholly dumbfounded. No one had ever made such a straightforward and impassioned promise to him. Even though the world was large, few people in it could say and they weren't empty words. If Shizun said he could do it, he could. He had only proven time and time again with his actions that he would rather sustain grievous injury than let Luo Bingke suffer even a tiny bit of harm. Still, the sense of indulging within these words was too much to bear. As the first surge of warmth slowly subsided, a burning heat crawled up Luo Bingke's face. Shen Jingzhou coughed for a while, miserably discovering that coughing up blood within the demon realm was impossible, then pinched Luo Bingke's arm. "All right, first help me up." Luo Bingke realized that where his wrists had been pinched, neither hurt nor itched. Instead, it tingled. "I'm fine." Immediately, he also realized his thoughts were overstepping and he scolded himself a little. Thinking such nonsense at a time like this, how disrespectful to Shizun! He hurriedly organized his thoughts and did as he was told. Suddenly, a voice sounded out of nowhere. That hoarse, aged voice made an inquisitive noise and said, "You're quite something. To actually break through this elder's barrier, boy." Who could it be? Who could it possibly be? You're not gay? Tell that to the judge. Who could it possibly be? Nah. Guys, should I stop here? I don't know. This seems like the best place to stop before a new character is introduced. Right? 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 I can't finish the chapter. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like 20 more pages at least. Actually, no, we're actually pretty good on time. We're like 1 hour and 40 minutes. I think it's pretty decent. I think we'll stop here. Ugh, I hate that there's no scene breaks in this chapter. Not a single one! Not a single one! Yeah, that's where we will stop for today. I will write that down. 168. 168. Well, no, I will write down the what I just said. So I don't lose my place. What is it? You're quite something. That voice echoed all. Okay. Start at. Okay. 20 more? That's fucking long. How many pages per chapter? I'm telling you, these chapters are long as hell. It's really long. Thanks for the scum. Thanks for the fun scum times. Thanks for hanging out. Well, we read. Oh my god, my neck. I'm gonna have to lie down. Okay. But yeah, that's gonna be all for today. We'll pick this up next week, hopefully. I think it will probably be in the AM, but I'm not sure. There's a lot of things happening right now, and I can't be certain. But I will let you know on YouTube or Blue Sky. I'll make some posts. I don't think I'll make a schedule for next week, though. Just because I really can't, like, be certain that I'll actually show up for them, because things are just popping up left and right. But I'll probably be doing like art streams, just guerrilla art streams, and then I want to get back to reading. So also something to note. Unfortunately, if you didn't read my posts on here or on Blue Sky, or I mean on YouTube or Blue Sky or wherever, I will not be finishing. I will not be finishing the Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish. I'm sorry, it sucks. It really sucks. It really just sucks. I can't get past the eugenics. That's crazy. And with fascism running rampant these days, in the US in particular, and if you didn't know, fascism and eugenics go hand in hand. They're literally like kissing constantly. They're making out. They're doing the sex things constantly. It's disgusting. Anyway. Yeah, I just can't put that out in the world. I'm sorry. It sucks. It really fucking sucks. But instead we will be reading Remnants of Filth. I think it'll be okay for Twitch. If we get to some smut scenes, we'll take them as they come, you know? We'll deal with them. We'll deal with them. So that's what we'll do. Remnants of Filth. That's why eugenics was very popular in the 1940s. Exactly. That is exactly why. They are hand in hand. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Anyway, that's all my updates for now, I think. I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good day, a good time, a good life. Thanks for hanging out. I will try to raid someone, but I don't know if anybody is really streaming right now. Ooh! Let's raid Comet. I'm sorry, YouTube, you, if you want to raid someone, you gotta go on Twitch. Yes, I'm dual streaming, so I raid things. Peace. Osu. Alright, let's raid Comet. I cannot say words anymore. Comet. Yeah, she's playing Among Us. Have fun. Thanks for hanging out. Stay safe. Fucking we ball, right? I don't know. I forget. I forget my endings. Yeah. Okay. Be good, boys and girls and theys and gays. That's all. See you later. Right. And go. Bye.